Okay, we call the meeting to order, the July 14th meeting, and we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we need the motion for the approval of minutes for May 26th and June 9th.
I wasn't here June 9th, and I didn't.
May not be a motion right now, Mr. Chairman.
No?
I've read the June 9th, but I haven't read the May 26th. Have you read 26th?
Yes.
So I'll move the June 9th meeting minutes.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
And I
Okay.
move that we accept the minutes from May 26th, 2021.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. We have several continuances for NOIs. 242-1816, 325 Johnson Street, requesting continue to August 11th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. 242-1810 Osgoode Pond Dam, requesting continue till July 28th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. 242-1818 Great Pond Road Great Pond Road Bank Stabilization, continue till July 28th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is 242, no DEP number, 292 Candlestick Road, requesting continue to July 28th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. All right, so we'll do first order of business, will be 242-1814, 3 Great Pond Road.
Alrighty, so the commission will recall that this involves the conversion of the Grange building into 3 condominiums with associated grading, parking, and stormwater management facilities. 2 parcels were merged to accommodate this project's parking needs. The planning board has closed and approved the project. Activities in the buffer and to the BVW and the bank include removal and loaming and seeding of a paved driveway to the west of the building, repaving and pavement expansion within associated retaining walls to the east and south of the building to create 6 new parking spaces, portions of which are in the 50-foot no-build, installation of catch basins, a storm scepter unit, and subsurface infiltration chamber immediately behind the building, partially within the 50. At the last time the commission discussed this project, they requested that test pits be done for the infiltration chamber. They did 2 test pits. Test hole number 1 found that estimated groundwater at 8.3 feet below grade. The second test hole, 9 feet below grade. So the bottom stone of the subsurface infiltration system will be at least or greater than 4 feet above estimated seasonal high groundwater. Also, based on the soil test data, infiltration rates were approximately 4 times greater than originally assumed. They had assumed at 0.27 inches per hour, but it's actually 4 times based on the soil results. The system will require excavation of the existing sea layer at elevation 84 and backfill with appropriate permeable soil. The applicant provided an updated alternatives analysis that the commission asked for. We were wondering if the chambers could be placed underneath the parking lot, and their reasoning was that the exfiltrated stormwater may be intercepted by the stone foundation of the retaining wall, which would decrease its life and also circumvent the needed intended groundwater recharge. Let's see. The stormwater infiltration basin system will get a catch basin outlet and will be surrounded by 3 feet of 4-inch minus riprap for scour protection. The chair and I asked if the chambers could be reconfigured to pull them further away from the edge of the 25. And we have a plan on the projector that shows that, so they were able to revise the plan to give us more breathing room from the edge of the 25. They just kind of shifted and rearranged the chambers. Let's see, I think that's all. So I think the commission has all the information it's requested. I don't know if there's any questions from the commission. There's representatives this evening here to field questions that I may not be able to answer.
Thank you. Joe?
Yeah, thanks for the attention that you gave to answering our questions at the last meeting. I do have a question, though. The packet we have tonight has 2 site plans, Amy. They
Okay.
differ. They bear the same title, they bear the same revision number, excuse me, no. The one that has the latest revision, up to revision 5, shows the PSIS
Yes.
reconfiguration.
714, that's the latest.
So the other plan is the one we should be disregarding.
Exactly. So
Okay.
I'm projecting the 714 plan.
So it's one stamped by Eric Lane,
Yeah.
not by Peter Ogren, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So- I was looking at the other one in context
Yeah,
of your
no.
presentation.
Yep.
So I understand that by moving it further away, we accomplished some of what we wanted to from the 25, but we couldn't get it under the parking lot. And the concern was that moving that much water through an infiltrator would deteriorate both the pavement subbase as well as the retaining wall right next to it.
Yep.
So they want to infiltrate on the downhill, down gradient side of the retaining wall. Okay.
Right.
But I think under the alternatives analysis, they've accomplished what we asked them to do is to look at that.
Right.
And I understand the logic of why that doesn't make sense. I'm all set.
Okay, yeah, and just continuing on with your line of discussion, Joe, my question is, this could be a very naive question, but it probably is, but I see that the bottom of the infiltrator is going to be about 92 elevation, and you know, in the vicinity of the parking area, the bottom of the wall is like 93, 94. So would it be feasible to bury that infiltrator deeper, just make it deeper, make it below the bottom of that wall, and keep the same height? Keep it at 91.88, but just bury it deeper under the pavement so that it doesn't erode the wall, as stated in the alternatives analysis. So it's just a logical question, not necessarily backed with any engineering knowledge, but have you considered that?
I'll give you guys the floor. You can sit up here or go to the podium, whatever you want to do.
Okay, yeah, I don't believe we've looked at that, but I believe that the putting the Coltex deeper would not help that situation. I think where it is the best place for it, and we've looked at various scenarios, and this seems like the best place. Putting them deeper will make it more difficult for the water to exfiltrate, to leave the chambers. If there's an excess of water, you know, it'll
Okay.
be more difficult for it to be infiltrated and for the pipes that go in to be buried that deep. So it not only affects the Caltex, but it affects other things like the catch basin and the catch basin pipes, and you'd have to redo the whole thing.
Well, at least.
Did you guys explore that, Lou? What you guys, I know, were
I'm waiting.
in discussion. Okay. All right. It sounds like, well, you don't have a test pit in that area, so you don't really know your separation from groundwater in that area
Correct.
either.
Correct.
Although that,
I
you
mean,
could- you could
I
get
don't,
that, but-
I don't imagine it's too different, but, you know, that is correct.
So as long as you had separation from the seasonal high groundwater, if you had the same separation, the Caltech would function approximately the same way as it does in your proposed location?
I would say so. I'm not an engineer.
Yeah, okay.
The firm's wetland
Okay.
Scientist, but
I
I-
understand
right.
it complicates the project.
I know it complicates it.
And
And I wish I could give you a technical answer there.
I agree that it is a good logical location that you've picked, except for the fact that it's inside the 50-foot no-build zone.
Correct.
So that's all I have, I guess.
And just remember, that area is already grassed, already filled. It's already disturbed.
Okay,
Thank you.
all set.
Al?
My question has to do with the excavation of existing soil from layer C at elevation 84. According to the application, it'll be backfilled with an appropriate permeable soil. My comment is this: whatever soil is proposed to be brought into the site will need pre-approval and a certificate of authenticity and location of where it came from presented to staff prior to the delivery of the soil. Don't bring it to site until it's been pre-approved. And to support that, I intend to make that as part of a condition in the order of conditions. That's it. That's my take. Thank you.
Thank you. Similar to what Jack was saying on the bottom of the storm chambers, it says 91.88, and on the catch basin, it's supposed to catch all the water, it's only 92.25. That's less than a foot. That's a long run to have a level pipe. I would hope that they could go to another foot. I don't think you're in the water table. Good, was that?
Some are accused, but I think the issue is the 4-foot separation. It's not whether you're in the water table.
Right, right. That's 4 feet, then 2 feet. Is it 4 feet or 2 feet?
It's two.
Requirements that
Required
they're providing
two.
for.
Yeah, they're
Providing.
providing for
It's 2 feet, then 3 feet, then 2 feet, right? 2 feet on the bottom, chambers 3 feet. And
Oh,
then
you mean-
2 feet clearance above seasonal high water is the requirement. They're providing 4. So starting at high water, they put in the base, bottom of the chambers at 4 feet.
Okay.
Then you've got their chambers, their infiltrators themselves, and I haven't seen the detail on that.
So they go another, they could go another foot.
Do we actually have it? Do we have a cross-section of that? Was that in the earlier plan?
Oh, because the storm chambers weren't where they are now. They were right up against the 25, and we got them to move it. Because they were going down 6 feet, and they're right on the 25. So they're gonna be in the 25 to dig the hole. That's why we asked that they move it.
Yep. Where's the old one?
But yeah, I would like to see more pitch, if we can. I think you can go another foot. I think you can go another foot deeper on the storm chambers without causing a major disaster in design and being in the water table, and I don't think you'd be in the water table. That's my only question.
So the rim is 96.75 and the invert is 92.25.
Right.
What would you like to see that invert to be?
I like to leave that alone. That's the,
Okay.
that's the catch basin. It's the bottom of where the pipe goes into the
Oh, I got it.
storm, which is
92.
9188.
Yeah.
So that's not even a foot.
But the bottom of stone's 90.
I mean,
Bottom of stone's 90.
9, okay,
And then the top of the chamber's 93.
right.
You wouldn't want the under drain on the wall to be below the top of the chamber, because otherwise it's just gonna go out into the under drain of the wall on the
Okay.
north side of the wall.
So you're saying it's all right the way it is?
I can't define one way or the
Oh,
other.
that's why you can't say. I forgot. I just like to see more pitch. If they can do it, fine. If they can't, I'm all set. Sean?
Just concerning and I don't want to, I don't know if you already discussed this before I came in, because I missed obviously some of the
We
presentation.
haven't discussed much.
No, okay. So were the waivers discussed?
No.
No.
Not yet.
So I see that there are a couple waivers requested, a couple relative to the parking area or paved area, and one relative to the, what you were just speaking about. So what's the justification for the waiver for the parking area?
Do you have this full set? This is from last meeting. On this project.
That's not this project. That's the roadway. This is this project. I don't have the whole stuff I got there, the cross section, cut and paste from out of their catalog, pretty much show it.
So the parking lot needs to be there because there isn't sufficient parking where the existing driveways are. There are driveways on each side of the building. We really wanted to reuse the driveways, but we were not allowed to use them because of safety purposes. We don't want anybody to back out directly into traffic. So we moved all the parking to the backside there. The parking lot is also,
And the area we're talking about is in the back right corner, correct?
correct.
You can see the 25 going through there, yep.
So that's the 25 there.
Yep.
And, yeah, it goes along and into that second lot there. There are two lots, two parcels associated with this, that back lot and the lot for number 3 Great Pond Road.
So you got
So-
parking there on the right, where the
Correct.
cursor is, right?
Right, and then one near the infiltration system. So
Right.
there are 6 spaces.
Yep.
That's the idea towards that, is that we put that back there for safety, first safety purposes, and to expand the amount of parking. The 2 existing driveways don't allow sufficient parking. Also to allow stormwater BMPs to be installed.
Yep.
So we are connecting the parking lot to the infiltration system. And so that will take care of the stormwater runoff. We just believe that the parking lot back there
Yep.
is a better configuration than having people back out into traffic.
Edges.
So the alternatives analysis also notes that they did seek relief from the zoning board of appeals for reduction in parking spaces and reuse of existing driveways. The ZBA had safety concerns with vehicles backing out directly onto Great Pond, resulting in the current configuration. So they have at least sought some relief to try to do something different. But
So, as I watch it, as I follow the 25 there, and I see the chambers, et cetera, shown right in here, correct? So there's no, is that gonna be pavement over here?
no.
No,
This
that's
will
gonna be grassed.
What about over here?
This is pavement to be removed, right, all the way
All of
along
that?
here, all along.
All of
here.
that, and we'll do some plantings as well.
Yep. So that whole side is gonna be loomed and seeded?
Yes, so reduction in pavement over here.
Do you propose any barriers between where your parking spots are and the wetland at all, whether it be a fencing or a stone wall or something like that?
So,
No, but there's a very, very steep slope there. So it's unlikely that anybody will go down there and fill it in. I mean,
So-
the wetland itself is off the property. There would not be any reason for anybody to go down there. There's no real access for anybody to dump anything, it's treed, it's forested, between the development, the property, and the wetland line. So,
Right, but what about the 25-foot line? Is it forested all the way up to the 25-foot line?
mostly
Is it
Mostly.
it's.
Back here, Jim. Sean, it drops
Way down.
way down. It's like a cliff.
so if I'm reading the plan correct, it says top of wall at 98, bottom of wall 96, 98, 97, 98, 95. So I'm assuming that the bottom of the wall is where the pavement hits it, right? Or no?
Which is the opposite. Pavement's on the high side of the wall, what
Okay,
I see. And
So
the
the-
low side of the wall is off pavement.
got it, okay.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is like 1.5 foot up in this front corner, 3 feet approximately in the corner of the
Okay.
3 spaces.
Okay, got it,
Up
got
in the
it.
other corner here, it's about 4 feet. Back to the building, it's another foot.
Okay.
So it's a pretty good drop off. Physical barrier, I think, is the wall.
It is the wall itself.
Seems to be, huh?
Yeah. Okay, I don't have any other questions.
Tom's recusing himself. Any more questions? Motion?
Does the commission wanna see any more new information, or?
I've seen enough for us to deliberate if we need to. What we haven't talked about is any of the construction sequencing, storage, material stockpile areas, and very confined site. Those things are pretty germane. I think we want to know, where things are going to be stored during construction and how things are going to be moved in and out. And then lastly, in the more permanent sense is, what are our expectations for snow management? Because there are really only 2 places on the site to put snow. That's right on top of the infiltration system. Still probably far enough away from the 25 and up in this other area right off the back of that wall. Again,
Right.
far enough off the 25, but I think we probably want to see some sort of commitment to where snow storage goes.
What about a barrier?
My opinion, the wall serves as the barrier.
Yeah, I don't think you need a barrier with a storm.
You don't see snow going over it?
Well, I do see snow going over, and I'm saying that's where it's,
Yeah.
that's where it's going to go, and that's where
Yeah.
it should go, and it's not in the it's nowhere near the 25. Snow won't end up in the 25.
My only thought on a barrier is safety. I mean, if you're gonna, well, it's still only gonna drop 4 feet, 3 to 4 feet. But, you don't want a car going over that, a guardrail at least, I would think would make sense, but it's not a conservation issue. I wouldn't hold up the
It's a long
proceedings
way-
based on that.
It's a long way away from the 25. I mean, you'd have to really have at it to get the parking and go over the storm chambers, because that's not pavement,
Yeah.
that's dirt,
No, I get it,
so,
because that's where it's gonna be plowed right off the end.
yeah. I think that if it snows that much to get to the 25, we get a lot of snow.
Do we need to have them
Hold on.
identify construction access?
No, I think we can condition it. I think the construction stockpiles and
Stockpile.
material areas, that's stuff we want to see on the plan.
Yeah.
Or what, at least tell us what their intentions are. There's one way in and one way out.
Yeah.
And, you know, depending on how they dig for these improvements. There's really no improvement to the building other than interior improvement, right?
Correct.
Some
Correct, the exterior will.
cosmetic exterior work. But
Right.
no additions, no
I mean,
foundations.
right, correct. I would think if they found rot on the outside, they would fix that, but most of it's interior.
I think it's a pre-construction condition. They give us a construction sequence. I think, you know, we want to see that they get the infiltrator in and built first. They then do their grading in the parking lot and get it to some stable condition before pavement, so that the infiltrator is ready to accept that water as soon as it is paved. I think they can give that to us as a pre-construction.
And snow storage area plan too?
Hmm?
And snow storage on the plan as well?
Are we
I mean-
prepared to, we're not going to issue a decision tonight, right?
No.
So it'd be safe, if we close tonight, we'd issue the next meeting. If we continue, we can still close and issue at the next meeting. So, yeah, I'd rather see the snow stockpiling area, you know, signs
On the plan.
shown on the plan.
Okay.
And material stockpile,
And while we're at it, yeah.
Yeah, material stockpile.
construction sequence.
Yeah, because they're gonna rip our pots up on that side too. I believe, there's pavement there now on that side. On the, you're standing next to the building, on the right where you're doing all your parking lots. There's pavement there to be removed also, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's to make room for the new driveway there.
Right, I'm thinking they want to keep that paved area on the west side for subcontractor parking, because that's a tight, I think they're gonna need to use some of it, but I wouldn't want to,
Yeah, I mean, it's just work your way out,
yeah, sort
you know.
of, yeah.
There's no getting around
Good
it.
setback.
Listen, look, there it is, okay. Erosion control, I didn't see any, okay. All set. So we want to continue? Is that correct?
Should we have them do a stormwater BMP map that kind of shows this is that, so that new owners, because this will be privately owned, so the owners should know what they have, so they could have, you know, a map to tell them what's what, you know, sort of for
For maintenance?
For lay people
Typically,
consumption.
we'd call that an O&M plan. It
Yeah.
can be elaborate, doesn't need to be elaborate, but
right,
something they can convey over with each ownership.
right, for layperson consumption. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I think an O&M
That would make sense.
manual makes sense, you know, catch basins, you know, parking lots swept once a year, catch basins cleaned out once a year, infiltrators inspected annually, maintained as needed, you know, spelled right out.
Okay.
Because it's gonna be conditioned as a perpetual condition, and it's gonna obligate the
Right,
association to
right,
do it.
Exactly.
All right, so we want
Okay.
one owner plan, we want snow stockpiling on the plan.
Yep.
What else we want?
Stockpile.
Oh, stock,
Sequence.
construction sequence,
Construction.
stockpiling.
Material stockpile.
Okay.
Right, anything else? All right, motion to continue?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next one is 242 1817 Osgoode Street, Osgoode Landing. This is the road widening, correct? Amy?
Yes, roadway intersection improvements to Osgoode Landing. I think the plan is here. Alrighty. Okay, so the commission will recall that this is a roadway improvement in front of Osgoode Landing, 1600 Osgoode. Widening of the roadway, converting unsignalized driveway surfaces or entrances to right in, right out, provisions for left turn lanes at the driveway entrances, MBTA bus bay, a pervious pavement shared pathway, milling and overlaying existing roadway and widening roadways in areas. The project results in overall reduced impervious surface by 9,900 square feet. Stormwater report was included. And at the last meeting, the commission asked that the applicant coordinate with the city with the town relative to its sewer improvement project to make sure that responsibilities are understood and how the two projects intersect. Discussion was held with the applicant, DPW, and town council, and I crafted a condition that provides for pre-construction coordination, which we placed in the order of conditions for the sewer project, and we'll do the same for this. They they met virtually with Mass DOT to talk about the O&M and the stormwater BMPs. DOT had asked for the proposed hydrodynamic separator near Wetland Series 13 to be replaced with a deep sunk catch basin, and they expressed its comfort to maintain these systems. And their feeling was that since we signed the notice of intent, we acknowledge and we'll do it, I guess. So I guess that's what we're going to get from Mass DOT. Anyway, I had asked if the elimination of the hydrodynamic separator impacted TSS or drainage calcs in any way, and I got a response from John Perry that not significantly at all, insignificant. So we have plans that overlay the two projects, so it shows all of the activities both relative to both of the projects. And I think that was it in terms of additional information the commission requested.
Thank
So
you.
we have applicant representatives here this evening.
Thank you. Joe?
No questions. I'm curious about the hydrodynamic separator because there's obviously a benefit to using them under the right application, and I don't think this is the wrong application to use it. What was DEP's logic for not wanting to do it, other than I know that they themselves don't have the equipment to maintain? They'd have to sub it out.
Correct, yeah. DOT was reluctant to maintain that system labeled as proprietary hydrodynamic separator, and as Amy mentioned, they wanted the deep sump catch basin there. I will go on to add some context to what Amy said about the minimum amount of benefit from that separator there. That separator was directly adjacent to Wetland Series 13 in that marginal increase of impervious area where we're widening the roadway. It's about 2,700 square feet relative to the north of 110,000 square feet that's going to that area. So that small contribution of TSS removal benefit, if you will, coming from that roadway improvement, and using that hydrodynamic separator is kind of diminished when you think about all of the water from that watershed going to that area. So, to Amy's point about a minimal increase, it was less than 1%, about 0.5%.
due to the additional contributory surface area, but you would be treating more of the area that's currently untreated. So those benefits are simply taken away.
In that small area, yes, but the overall project reduces the impervious area by 10,000 square feet
I
relative
got you
to
now,
that.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
The net of reduction of the impervious area.
correct, and that's all being drained to those head walls in that area.
Okay, I'm all set.
Was it a 450i? The smaller catch basin?
That's about the size that it would be. We didn't spec out the storm scepter
So
specifically.
those are only good for 40% anyways until you get up to the 900 for removal, so it's pretty close.
Correct, yeah, and then, street sweeping, yeah.
No questions. My question's for our house engineers. So the Mass DOT's reluctance to take the better separator and go with something that's more generic, that's not a problem for us?
I think what it should do is give us comfort of the likelihood of it actually being maintained, because they're not as inclined to maintain the hydro separator.
That's what I was gonna say.
So, maybe I'm the only one in the room that has a problem with it. Because if we condition something and they say, well, we're not gonna maintain it, well, someone's gonna maintain it. Why are we letting this happen?
I think if we were looking at a real TSS removal issue, and we had a lot of area being added or changed or modified and not getting any benefit whatsoever, we'd have a real legitimate argument. But because this is a net reduction in paved area, I actually agree with the engineer's summary on this. It makes sense to us.
But it was the applicant that proposed the better system in the first place. It's DOT that's saying, no, we don't wanna work on that. That scares us. We want something more
DOT
generic.
scares us. We know that it scares us, but in this instance, I agree with our engineer's assessment of it.
You'd have to get an access permit anyways after this, correct? And,
That's project.
yeah, so,
Mitigation, but it's from the access permits was not.
all right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, they probably would have crossed it out at the end when they reviewed it anyways, so. It's all they have to do is show an improvement under the act. This is probably not the one to pick the fight with DOT on. And I think overall there is an improvement.
Fight DOT.
The converse of that is actually, we've been through this before, Mass Ave at Chicken Road, when they added all that additional pavement, we actually held their feet to the fire and got all those improvements, because we had a bad situation that was going to get worse had they not put those devices in. So, that one we fought for and we did get. We were able to win that one. This one I don't think is winnable.
No, take your battles.
It's still an improvement, it's still a nice improvement overall.
Yeah, no, I agree with it.
If what Mass DOT wants is right, you would never have proposed the hydrodynamic separator in the first place, am I correct? You proposed it because it's the better system, that was your proposal. You would not have proposed it if it was worse. So I can only take from that you proposed it because you believe it's the best system for that application. DOT is saying, we don't want to maintain it. That's all this comes down to.
Yeah, I would, and I'm not advocating for MassDOT. The standard is, our obligation under the regulations and the stormwater standards is try to improve conditions to the maximum extent practicable. That was our effort at doing it to the maximum
I can
extent.
see that.
Yeah.
That's clear to me.
Yeah.
I'm not an engineer.
Yeah.
That's clear to me.
Yeah. The maximum has been redefined for us by the landowner and the state agency.
The thing of it is that although it's inferior, it'll work.
I get it. I
Correct?
get it. I guess
It'll work.
my point is being missed.
No, it's not.
No, I understand.
I mean, we're all in agreement with
They
you.
like to dumb down the project when they're doing the maintenance. And I just personally, I take great umbrage with that. That's a problem, because nobody else gets away with that.
I'm an engineer. I'm not
Nobody
gonna
else
say-
gets away with
I'm not gonna say we're perfect because we're far from perfect, but sometimes we will over-design something that isn't necessary.
Okay.
Sometimes you're gonna design something that's going to be a Cadillac, but the Mustang was perfectly fine to begin with. What we've got here is something that was proposed in the overall light of it's gonna be a little bit better, but the greatest extent practicable, the practicality of this has to come into play. Given the little minimal, de minimis benefit you're gonna get, it's impractical to put a sophisticated system in that's not gonna be maintained.
Right. An unmaintained storm scepter is worse than a maintained catch basin in the end.
It'd be like if they maintain the catch basin. But we're not gonna go there.
I'm
When
through.
it's not
But you know
puddle
it's
in the
gonna
street,
work.
go.
But you know it's
I've
gonna
clearly
work
been
forever.
doing this too long, I'm frustrated with it.
No, I know.
I'm all set, I'm all set.
I look at this way, Al, I agree with you. I mean, they won't even sign a letter on notice of intent.
Yeah, I know, I'm,
That's why I laughed when somebody proposed it. I'm like, we'll be dead, all dead and buried, and they still won't send that letter.
Mr. Chair, we made a good faith effort to try and achieve that goal, I promise you. We went in, we tried to get it, we came out, but we did our best to try it.
we thank you for your effort.
I deal with them all the time, so I whatever. Okay, it's all yours.
No questions?
No questions, I think they went.
So the only thing you guys really need to vote on, I think, is the waiver for the proximity of the new retaining wall next to Wetland Series 13. But we did talk about that at the last meeting. So it's technically a waiver, so.
I move that we grant the waiver for the proximity of the retaining wall as described and shown.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Now we'll close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks for trying, Michael.
And thank you.
Keep up the good fight.
Thank you for coordinating everything all together.
Very well, appreciate it, thank you.
Thanks. All right, where am I? Buildings, 242, 1821, 217 Gray Street.
Commission will recall, this project involved demolition of a existing rear porch, deck and stairs, construction of a rear addition, new deck, hot tub and patio. The work is 71.6 feet from the wetland at its closest point in maintained lawn area. The original plan had a garage that needed ZBA approval. Applicant agreed to remove that from the plan to move forward with this, what we have before us now. We also asked for construction access and stockpile area, and those are on the plan now. We have a DEP file number, so we're good with that. The only thing that we're going to, the one violation was that wetland between A10 and A14 is currently being mowed as lawn, so we're going to require that to stop under the order and allow it to grow back. And we'll have wetland markers at the 25, so that will aid in that as well. So I think we have a plan that's approvable. There's no waivers requested. Information that we requested is on the plan. We have a DP file number, so that I think the commission could close and issue.
Thank you. Joe?
No questions.
Jack?
No questions.
Al?
No questions.
The only thing I would just say was, if we could have some type of record that they did apply for
For
garage, so if it happens,
Oh, right, so that, I mean, if they want to do the garage, they'd have to come back.
exactly.
And I guess I did have a question, I didn't know whether that's an amendment or a modification to the plan. It would be well outside of the 50. I don't know, I mean, the ZBA process is another public hearing process for the garage, so the abutters are gonna be well aware of it. I mean, I don't know if the ZBA is gonna approve it, but we'll see.
If it doesn't require waivers, it's typically a modification,
Okay,
typically.
okay. I just.
I don't know if
didn't
there's any differing opinions,
Yeah.
but
All right, that would be fine.
It looks like it's gonna be outside the 100-foot.
Looks like it's gonna be outside the
Well,
100.
it's
Yeah.
gonna be just outside. I mean,
Yeah, so it's
it's
not even
gonna
jurisdiction.
straddle
So
it.
it's
It'll-
not even
It's
jurisdiction.
gonna be right about
Let's
here.
tackle that one when it
Yeah.
They don't have to come for us.
Sounds like it doesn't have to.
And we've seen it
I think it's not outside of 100.
No, it's in.
It's just in.
It's
We're
just in.
We're on for August 9th, I think, for ZBA.
But I think the garage is inside 100.
Yeah.
Just
garage is
inside.
just
Yeah.
It's
rear.
just
So the
inside.
garage steps back a little bit from, all right. I just figured it would be attached to the side.
So that you'd have to file for modification if you decide to put the garage on.
What does that entail, modification?
Just file an application with it, and then you come before us again.
Okay. Do we have to
Let me just
notify
pull that one up.
the
So
same?
a modification, there's no notification.
No notification.
That's kind of the discussion. An amendment, you'd have to re-notify and stuff.
Okay.
I think it's a modification.
We've
So-
already seen and kind of discussed it at the last meeting, so I think we'd be well within our right to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's just because of timing with ZBA.
Right.
Okay.
Great.
So if it doesn't move, it was going to be 81.8 feet from the wetland,
Oh,
so, okay, I just wanted to make sure.
So we'll keep it simple.
Yeah. Okay, Sean?
When you write that the wetland's being maintained as lawn from A10 to A14, you mean if you cut a straight line from A10 to A14, that's all?
In this area where I'm, if you see that, this area.
There's blue flags back there marking that corner of the right corner,
So
right
the-
back corner.
The wetland kind of comes out,
Yep.
and so it's this area.
So what are you proposing to prevent that
I
going
think-
forward?
Well, we're gonna have our wetland markers at the 25.
On posts?
Yep.
Yep.
And a long-term condition that it not be mowed. I don't know.
You don't think there should be a barrier of some sort?
I don't know. It's up to you guys. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, you've been out there.
Hmm?
You've been out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's lawn. So, I mean, the markers may provide
So the markers are gonna be at the 25?
at the 25
But the mowing?
is in the wetland.
Is in the wetland, so
Yeah.
we're trying to stop mowing in the
In the
25?
wetland. In the wetland.
Okay, so shouldn't the markers be at the, like, right around the wetland line?
It's up to you guys.
Well, they are on their,
They're just flags, or they're talking about permanent.
they're
bounds.
flags, yeah.
Permanent.
Well-
Permanent markers.
Yeah.
What
permanent
what
The
entails?
wetland
permanent
flagging,
markers?
but they're not permanent. They're just
Right.
little pins in
What
the
is it, just
ground
a
showing
stake?
where the
Permanent
edge of
markers
it.
are-
They're granite.
It could be a little
Stone or
post
something.
with
Like a 4x4
a
post.
medallion
With
on
a
it.
medallion.
Yeah, 4x4 posts.
Then once
Down.
it revegetates, then that's.
I mean, we could
that's
do
pretty good.
additional, I mean, maybe we could do,
So this is a very important discussion because seems to be lack of clarity on the commission here.
right.
I'm agreeing with Jack, or even Sean, who may have started the discussion. Mark is at the 25, typically to us mean you
Stop
shall not
mowing.
mow anything
Beyond.
inside the 25. What I'm hearing in part of the discussion is stop mowing the wetland area
Yeah.
that you has been mowed in the past.
Mhm.
But continue to mow inside the 25 is still okay?
No.
That's what I'm hearing, it's.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
didn't mean it that way.
just to refresh my memory, when did you buy the house?
Me, 2000.
2000, and was it maintained to that? Because, I mean, it looks like the tree line.
There was no
cleared.
wetlands then, and there was no beaver dam that flooded 15 acres of forest and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So it became a high water table area subsequent to all of that, so.
Yeah.
So what you're proposing was what, reclaim up to the 25? Is that what you were proposing, or reclaim up to the edge of the wetland? I thought I heard you say reclaiming up to the 25.
Right. Well,
Not sure that.
I think-
I don't think that's what the applicant was hearing, though.
okay.
So we were asked to make a note. We noted that wetlands delineated by the wetland specialist will cease, maintenance will cease to return to its natural condition. So the note on this plan says
Note 3?
Note 3, yeah.
So note 3 is exactly what I was pointing out, as the discrepancy of what we're saying.
That's what was
the plan is
asked
saying.
last time, was
Yeah.
note 3.
And I want to be very clear,
Okay.
because we're having two different
Yeah.
discussions
No, you're
here
right
about the
about
same
that.
thing.
So note 3 is greater than the 25, right?
Up to the 25.
Huh?
25 feet from the edge of the wetland.
So,
Is what's intended.
right,
But we look, from this corner to that corner is being mowed, right?
Yes.
of
What we
wetland.
would typically say is 25, this
Stop.
area here, nothing beyond that line. Once those little markers, with nothing beyond there, ever gets mowed again. That's substantial yard area, I'll make sure you understand. That's how we're talking.
You're talking about from the flags to the back right corner.
25
We're
feet out from the
talking
flags.
from the flags towards your house, from the blue flags towards your house, so this area,
No 25.
That's not what you were saying last time.
well, I was saying that you're mowing the wetland, and that has to stop.
Which is that back right corner.
Right here.
Yeah.
Where lot 2.
Exactly.
Okay.
We understand that.
But the commission is saying,
But stop mowing the
stop mowing the
So
25.
if there was no wetland when the house was built.
That's pure grass and lawn.
Worse for him, because, you know, if before the 25 and the 50, we let people who had a wetland and were aware that there's a wetland continue to mow up to the edge of the wetland.
Well, you're talking about before the bylaw.
Before the bylaw, and if they come in and they want to do
Before the
something,
bylaw, there were no setbacks,
So if-
practically speaking.
it's just kind of just my thought process is, it's through no fault of his own that the wetlands crept into his yard that's been maintained.
So it sounds like we're just trying to seek out a balance of where he has to
Yeah.
stop mowing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. The
So-
house was built in 85.
So, let's just go with boots on the ground. You've been out there to the site. Where do you recommend that line be?
I don't know, maybe we could split the difference halfway
Halfway to
halfway through the 25?
That's
12
pretty
and a
far
half?
out into my lawn. I'm amenable, I mean, I obviously go with what you're saying, but I'm amenable to the back right that was being mowed, to leave it, and it's inside the flags where we had the engineer flag it.
So, yeah, inside the flag area, that's wetland. You have to stay out of that.
But
Then
anything further
there's a-
puts it out, I'm gonna have
Yeah.
like a cutting.
So then there's a no disturb zone that the bylaw requires, 25 feet. And the discussion that's being had now is we're talking about, are we gonna hold you to the 25 feet? Or I heard somebody say 12,
I don't know.
like an auctioneer here.
I know, it's still,
12 better than 25.
12 better than 25, but 12 is still out.
Yeah.
A
Now,
little bit.
One thought that I have, and, you know, I am sometimes a stickler on these, is that, you know, look at the contours that exist out there, and you propose to us where you think it should be. Maybe at some points it's 25 feet away, maybe other points it's 8 feet away, but you try to find the contour that maybe makes sense, and if something that I could live with, I would think about.
I mean, if you're there, the natural slope of the land goes back this way. There are apple trees that rim that back right corner. And that's just a natural spot where the wetlands and the plants that were identified to be. If you pull it,
This,
Basically follows that 180 line. If it was like 181 or 180,
I'm
that
wondering if
topo
you could
line,
trade
if it was like a topo line at 181, it would be
in between.
Close.
close to the flags. It's probably just inside the flags.
So this is, that's 180.
You said inside the flags?
This is
You
182.
gotta stay outside the flags.
No, I know, but it would, in reference to that topo line at 180 and the 182,
Gotcha.
So the 181
I think it would be like at 181, it's not gonna,
Yeah.
it's kind of the natural.
Sort of splitting the,
So I was gonna say, maybe we could
it's really,
move it out to the edge of the tree line so we could save those trees on the left-hand side in perpetuity.
I like Sean's idea, because we're not gonna pick the right locations from this table. I think the applicant, if there's time, if you still got zoning ahead of you, right?
not for this project.
No,
Yes.
they separated from
Oh,
zoning.
so that was just a garage question all the way
That's a
through.
garage
So
issue,
you
yeah.
really want something coming out of this tonight.
Yeah.
yep.
And well, we need to know where you want to make that line so we can consider it, and then have Amy understand what that is. Because like,
May I
I
make a
mean,
suggestion?
in an unperfect world, we would simply hold something parallel to the wetland flags, whether it be 10 feet, 25 feet, or 12.5 feet, whatever it is, it'll be parallel to the flags.
Joe, let me
And
offer
it may
you-
not be the most optimal location.
Let me just offer a suggestion. They want to get settled tonight. Why don't we bump them?
Recess it.
No, bump them to the end of the meeting, take the rest of the hearings and let them, and come back to us, go down the hall, talk about it, come back to us with a proposal,
Sure.
all right?
So what you're asking is from the flags towards my house, some
Yep.
distance that I can't mow
We
anymore?
want you to choose the area that you propose, understanding what the requirement is. The requirement is 25 feet. It sounds like the commission is in an amazingly generous mood. I would strike while the iron's hot. I would go down the hall, talk
Understood.
about it, and come back.
Understood.
Okay.
Because
That's what I would do, but I
Because
mean,
most of us hold the 25 sacred.
Appreciate your
So-
consideration and advice.
so you're gonna.
He's telling me to
you're
shut
bump-
up.
We're not closing you, we're bumping you till the end of the meeting, so
I
don't
move that
leave.
Move that we table this matter to the latter part of the meeting.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And do you want something parallel to the wetland delineation
We'd
line?
like
I want it to
Would
make
be-
sense for you folks.
Yeah.
We're looking for the greatest distance possible, but we're looking for something that works for you folks.
And
Sure.
it must follow that same flag?
Well, it's gotta follow the wetlands.
It's-
It has
Yeah.
to be outside the wetland barrier, which is the flag.
Yep.
Okay.
Keep it simple. See where the wetland flags are shown on your plan?
Yeah, yeah.
And you see the 25, that's heavy dashed
This
line?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Somewhere in that area, you're gonna show us where you're gonna stop off.
Understood.
In between those two.
And draw it.
Keep
Draw
it,
it.
keep it simple and be reasonable.
Sure.
all right?
Yep, understood.
Well, just a heads up, most of the guys so far have been talking about halfway.
Noted. Halfway between the 25 and the delineated
So
lines.
12 feet off
Yes.
the wetlands is the... All right, let's
So go draw it, mark it, bring in something we can use as a record drawing.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm just
Good
trying to
enough.
help.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate your advice.
Okay, next one is, way down.
We have to continue the amendment?
Amendment,
No,
We have to
continue.
continue the
gotta
amendment.
No,
So
we
we
haven't
haven't-
yet.
we haven't done that yet.
We haven't continued,
We did it otherwise.
we just did the NOIs, we haven't done,
Right, we just did the
we
NOIs.
haven't,
We have-
amendments and things that need to continue.
All right, amendment 242-1692, request to continue to July 28th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous.
Question,
Yes.
Amy, real quick. On 1210, are you still receiving up-to-date data on
Yes,
the
yes.
numbers and?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. All
Yep.
set.
All right. RDA 415 Boxford Street, request to continue until July 28th.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous. The next one is 25 Cranberry Lane.
Alrighty. This RDA comes as an after-the-fact application for work inside the lawn within the buffer zone. Let me just get this straight. Got it. Okay. All right. So basically, the homeowners were rehabilitating approximately 1,500 square feet of dead lawn and replacing broken irrigation lines. Conservation staff received a call that work was going on in the buffer without any permits. So we got out there, asked them to cease work. Work was done by a combination of hand tools, shovels, wheelbarrows, and equipment consisting of a mini excavator. All work occurred within 50 and 25 to the wetland. Erosion controls were immediately installed upon our request. And all the disturbed areas basically returned to seeded conditions and stabilized with straw. The field inspector reviewed the site, I think it was Tuesday? Tuesday. Seed is germinating quite well, and despite all of the rain that we've had, there hasn't been any breaches to the erosion control, so the wetlands aren't negatively impacted at all from this work. So right now, we're really stable, grass is growing, needs some sun.
What's that?
And so So, you know, it's lawn, it's historic lawn, that's been next to a wetland. And they just, you know, rehabbed it, basically. So, you know, if the commission feels that they have enough information, they could close and issue a -3. We would assign conditions that require full growth and observation before erosion controls are withdrawn, and then installation of at least 5 wetland markers at the no disturb or the edge of lawn, or the tree line perhaps, but,
Thank you.
so.
Joe?
Some mistakes can go bad, some mistakes go well. Sounds like this one's all set.
Jack?
Yeah, just one question. It looks like the area disturbances is inside the tree line.
It's an older plan. This property was before Jen a few years ago for some tree removal, and she approved it administratively, so that may be a little different
Oh, okay.
than what we see.
Because it'd be hard to grow lawn
True.
inside the tree line.
True.
Well, I spent good money to get, I think it was 6 50-foot pine trees that were dead and gonna fall on my house that I had recently bought. And I went with someone that, I've been in this town since 1973. And I've never been in front of you guys, so I've been
Consider
pretty
yourself
good.
lucky?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went with someone that has lived in the town as long as I was to help me with that issue. And in his awesome engineering skills, he created a bigger problem when he took the trees out, and the wetlands were becoming my entire backyard and my driveway. I had a 15-foot puddle in my driveway that I had to walk through every time it rained to get into my car. So, looking at that, when I had to refix what he screwed up when he took the trees out, that's why you see that big area. So it's now properly flattened the right way, and it's going to the wetlands where it's supposed to go, as opposed to going into my house and my driveway. And the broken pipe that was feeding water into my yard is now fixed, and there's going to be grass there as opposed to a huge puddle.
So the tree removal person
Yeah, I
messed
spent
up?
$7,000 to have the trees removed.
Yeah.
And then I had to spend another $5,000 to fix what he screwed up.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, 'cause everything had to be pulled over the house. I wasn't there, thank God, because I probably would have had I already had one heart attack, but I would have had another heart attack seeing that done. But yeah, no, everything's good. The wetlands are better maintained right currently than they were being, so everything should be good.
It was just a question of curiosity on the tree line, but, so I'm all set, I'm good.
All set, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, all right. Oh, after the fact, Taylor, glad you found it, so we get it straightened out, done properly. And,
It looks pretty good back there, right?
Yes, it's.
Much better than it was.
Determination, and like Amy said, nothing is negatively impacting wetland. The
Yeah.
erosion
Like
controls
you
are
say,
doing their job,
and
and I
it was
think with a
hopefully,
little more sun.
it was hopefully you
building.
worked with the department, that helps. Because if you become obstinate, then things don't go well. Sean?
No questions.
No question.
So this is another discussion about wetland markers and where do they go?
Tree line.
Along the tree line? Where, yeah, I
Because
mean,
he's mowing to the tree line now, right?
yeah.
The area, the tree line, you can't even mow. There's a ancient ditch that's in the back of my property that's in front of the stone wall that the water goes into and goes through the property like it always has since whenever it was ever started, so I can't mow in that area. So the markers, I can only go so far. I'm not anywhere where I'd be in a problem of mowing into the wet area that goes down.
Maybe if they were placed sort of somewhere where the mitigation plantings were
Okay.
in that area.
So wherever you tell me to put 'em.
Taylor, he's been there.
Well,
Okay.
yeah,
The recommendation calls for at the edge of the no disturbance zone. Is that a problem?
Yeah, or lawn, or wherever it makes sense.
I would say
Well, just going back to Alan's
about at
question,
the
so
edge of the lawn.
Does it make, when you say at the no disturbance zone, if it makes sense further out than the no disturbance zone, I would understand that. But if it's, you're talking about within the disturbance zone,
All he
I
has to
don't
do
think
is,
that's our intention.
all he has to do is tell me where to put it, I'll
Right.
put it. It's-
Right. I'm just talking generically. again.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yep.
With an RDA, one of the few conditions we have an issue could include where to put those markers at the direction of staff.
Right.
Because there weren't any markers
Which
there
is
originally.
condition one in part of my motion.
Okay.
I move that we issue a -3 determination with the condition on the location of the markers, a follow-up inspection of the seeded lawn, and before erosion controls can be removed, and pre and post,
Okay, so markers at our direction.
markers at your direction.
Okay. Okay.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. You're all set.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Thank you.
coming in.
All right. Next one is COCs, 242-1665, request to continue till July 28th.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
We have 217 Gray is back.
Yeah,
217
you
Gray
wanna-
is back. Are you ready?
You're ready for me? I'm ready.
Yeah.
Unless you want to stay till the end.
Well, so we took the guidance of the commission, and so we drew, split the difference, 12.5 feet
Okay.
from the wetland flag out along the same parallel line as the
Great.
wetland flags.
Okay,
In that corner.
great.
All right.
Okay, I'll take it.
Right, now the only thing we'd have to, is wetland markers.
Hmm?
You gotta
That's
put
where it's
what-
putting them, right?
The
That's what
the
you're gonna
discs,
put-
the
Yeah.
wetland,
Yeah.
Okay.
so
Yep.
Right, so we're all
What's
good.
that?
You see her?
We sell them.
you buy them
And
from us
install.
and we tell you where to put them.
Yeah, there's 500, there's $500 a piece.
No, no. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I move that we close this decision within 21 days.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous.
All right.
Good luck with zoning.
Thank you.
Next one is 242-1738, 332 Hillside Road.
Hold on. All righty, let's see here. Hi, come on up. All righty. So the commission will recall this order of conditions issued in July of 2018 governed construction of a two-car garage with a master suite addition to an existing single-family house. Work included the removal of an existing deck and paved parking area and turnaround, relocation of existing utilities, installation of a dry well for roof runoff and a walkway, minor site grading and surface restoration to the modified driveway. Work was in the 100-foot buffer zone, and wetland restoration of a lawn was required, and monumentation was required. Two minor changes happened along the way that was approved. The walkway material changed from brick to concrete, and there was a small extension of the paved driveway that was out of the buffer zone, actually, so I don't know why this is not coming up for me. That's weird.
Joe? I have no questions.
And so at the last summer, the owner came before us, asking if you really had to plant the shrubs, and you said, yeah, you really have to plant the shrubs, so. So, he went ahead and did that fall. I observed them, in the middle of June this year. They look really good, and, the wetland markers are in. So that was the last thing that we needed, so I think we're all set to issue a certificate.
Jack?
Yeah, I'm glad we have that barrier, because that was the reason for those plantings, and it's just a physical barrier that respects the wetland line. As long as they're doing good, I'm good.
Thank you. Al?
I'm all set.
Sean?
No questions?
Tony?
No questions.
Motion?
Motion to issue the certificate of compliance for 2421738.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
So, thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll mail you the original, you can get it recorded, get the recording back to us, and then we'll work to get it, the bond released. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Next one is 242-1759, 338 Blue Ridge Road.
Alrighty, let's get. Alrighty. So the order issued in July of 2019 governed removal of an existing deck and construction of a 6-foot wide house addition, reconstruction of a deck in kind, construction of an in-ground pool, hot tub, fire pit, associated block paver patio, replacement of existing patio with new paver blocks, and an associated infiltration trench, a pool house, associated retaining wall with minimal grading on the wetland side, driveway extension, repaving of the existing driveway, installation of a shed at the end of the driveway with an associated retaining wall, and installation of perimeter fencing and wetland no disturb zone markers. Work took place within the 100-foot buffer zone to BVW, but outside the 25 and the 200-foot riverfront. The commission did allow for a section of the retaining wall to be just inside the 50-foot to allow for minimal grading, to basically avoid extensive grading in the 50. So the as-built plan shows that the retaining wall is 4 feet closer to the wetland than previously approved, so it was at 48, now it's at 44. But the area between the patio and the face of the retaining wall is actually a wider area of stone, so it's not like it's new impervious or more patio, it's actually more infiltration area. Yard waste was historically dumped at wetland flag A13 and 14, and that was removed before work started, and there's no evidence that any yard waste dumping is going on, so that's good. Let's see. And I said wetland markers are in place at appropriate locations.
Thank you. Joe?
And the site's stable.
What's that?
Site stable.
Joe?
Yeah, technically they are closer than the waiver we had already granted on the retaining wall, but for what we got in exchange, because of the way it fits in with the no disturb area and the infiltration capabilities, it's actually an improvement. So I guess I'm okay. Technically, it's a violation. The reality is, if asked up front with the same logical conclusion, we probably would have granted that as well. So I'm okay with that. And that's all I have.
Thanks. Jack?
Yeah, I just don't recall allowing the retaining wall to be within the 50-foot no-build zone, but the original order allowed that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it was discussed and.
With the plan of record?
Yes.
And so
Yep.
it's slightly different than the plan of record?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's that's the only deviation.
Yep, okay.
And we have, a chain link fence, at the edge of the 25 plus markers, so the wetland is pretty well protected.
Okay.
And they're respecting it, so.
I'll defer any other questions till we finish.
So the record drawing has been revised to show
We have the
the
as-built.
new conditions?
Yeah, we have, yep.
As-built.
Yeah, the as-built.
I'm all set. I'm all
John?
set.
No questions. Tony?
No further questions?
Motion?
We grant certificate of compliance to for 1759, 338 Blue Ridge Road.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. You're all set.
Thanks, Mira. Nice to meet you in person. Okay. Yeah.
All right, next one is small project NACC 27960 Campbell Road.
Alrighty. Pulling it up. All right, so this comes as a small project for sewer connection that is required by the town of North Andover. So they're going to abandon the existing septic system and connect on the right side of the house to town sewer. Will be a 2.5-foot trench with crushed stone around the pipe. Excavated trench soils will be backfilled before the end of each day. Once complete, disturbed lawn areas will be reseeded and leaf litter will be returned to disturbed wooded areas. What?
Where the trench hooks up to the sewer.
Yeah.
There's a little wooded area
Oh,
in the
okay.
front.
Oh, all right.
So the leaf litter that's there will be returned
Okay, all right.
after the
I
trench.
gotcha, okay.
To bring
Alrighty.
it back to its natural state.
Okay, all righty. All work is out of the 50. Let's see. Closest point is 80 feet, did you say?
At the western.
The westerly
most wet-
side.
So there's two
That's it.
wetlands
That's right. So there's a wetland on
on the west.
the west side, and
Top
then there's a
left
wetland
corner.
across the street, Campbell Road across the street. So, but
With
it's
it.
out of the 50, all work's out of the 50.
Yeah.
So we do have a letter from the town from late 90s, early 2000s that let the people on Campbell Road, we're putting on, you know, we're doing sewer, you need to connect, so. And so, would recommend that this be approved as a Category D with conditions that require 8-inch mulch sock installation and our observation of the same, and then post-construction to verify compliance and ensure that site conditions are stable before controls are removed.
Thank you. Joe?
No questions.
Jack?
Yeah, I have no questions.
Al?
All set.
Sean?
Nothing.
Tony?
No questions.
Motion?
I want to move that we consider this to be a small project under Category D.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous.
And accordingly, that we approve it as proposed with any conditions pre or post required by staff.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. All righty. Enforcement orders. 268 Raleigh Tavern Lane, request to continue to July 28th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. They are moving forward.
Yeah, it's been I'm on vacation, he's on vacation, surveyor's on vacation, it's just been
Everybody's on
vacation time for
everybody's on
everybody.
vacation.
You would think it was July.
Yeah, yeah,
In the
so
rain.
it's been,
Let's go
that's what
vacation in
it's
the rain.
really been, it's been
Survey's
crazy.
back, now it's raining out.
Right, right.
All right, next
Lou,
one.
Lou, I had to recuse myself for the Raleigh Tavern Lane.
Okay,
So
Oh, okay.
I list
All
me
right.
as a recused.
Okay, thanks.
sorry.
I take my vote back.
You stand recused.
All right. Next one is 40 Flagship Drive.
Alrighty. Okay, so this site was a vacant lot that had been permitted by the planning board through site plan review special permit in September of 2020, for the construction of a 15,000 square foot single-story metal building, parking, stormwater, utilities, and landscaping for a contractor's office, equipment storage, and construction laydown area. The planning board required an erosion control monitor. Work stopped for the month of February, but then resumed after that. The subject site is over 450 feet from the downstream wetlands that receive catch basin runoff from the street. The site is currently under active construction and pretty much denuded of vegetation. The perimeter erosion controls have been overwhelmed, and the temporary sediment basin has been bypassed, and it's currently at capacity. Last week, during one of the severe rainstorms, I decided to take a drive down there and found the conditions to be, not good, with sediment-laden water flowing down the street. So I immediately issued an enforcement order the next day, ordering that work cease on the site, erosion controls be enhanced, new silt sacks and catch basins and be replaced, and then new ones where they were needed to be installed. Engage a wetland consultant to evaluate the impact to the wetlands and propose cleanup and mitigation. I had asked, not in the enforcement order, but through email correspondence, that frac tanks be brought to the site, because I don't think, the sediment basin is full, so we have no more capacity out there. They have engaged Norse Environmental. I talked with Maureen Harold this afternoon. She has been to the site and been into the wetland. She wants things to dry out a little bit more, because she augured down in the wetland. She was getting up to a possible 18 inches at the very outlet of sediment, but she really couldn't tell, further down, but it was just too wet to. So let's see. I have pictures from this morning. We have Mr. Linsky with us, who is the contractor and the owner. So that's where we're at right now.
Thank you. Joe?
Make sure I understand what I think it is. The site itself was not jurisdictional to the commission.
Correct.
Right? But
That's right.
because of downstream impacts,
It is
now
now.
the entire site is jurisdictional. Not just,
Right.
For construction BMP, but really, boy, oh boy. I mean, I'm looking at the pictures, I've lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
How many square feet, how many acres of disturbed area are we talking about out there? I mean, is this a violation under the federal NIPD's permit? I mean, it looks like it easily is.
I don't know. Possibly. I mean, Will, I don't know. Bill, you can maybe speak to that. Do you have
The
any?
whole site is 4 acres, but there's buffers and things like that, so maybe 3,
How many 3 acres of disturbed area?
best guess, yeah.
Do you have a NIPD's permit? Have you filed?
Oh, yeah, everything's been filed.
You do. I mean, did you report this? Did someone report this? On your permit, there's a NIPD's agent who's responsible for the stormwater control of the site, and that obligates that person to report to the federal government that this is the case.
I do not know, but I'll.
Yeah, that. It's serious. I mean, I don't know what to say.
No, I mean,
Frac
what
tanks
happened
made.
is that far corner, if you go back to the other picture, it actually broke through the wall of the pond. It was coming down and it went over the Jersey barriers, which we had as an additional layer of protection. Those barriers are there with fabric and, stone in front of them, kind of as a, protection for everything. And it just came right out of that corner and it was going over the barriers and took out the silt fence in the road, and that was it.
So,
See the.
You can see what the.
I mean, I heard
snow
the
fence is down.
typical enforcement, what you would do is cease and desist,
Yeah.
clean it up, stabilize as best you
Yeah,
can,
yeah.
and then move forward with some sort of plan that they present to us.
Mm-hmm.
What are we looking for? Are we looking for an NOI because it's now become jurisdictional? This lot is now jurisdictional.
We ought to be.
What?
We ought to be.
It ought to be,
We
yeah.
ought to be looking for an NOI.
Isn't it cleaner to do an enforcement order?
Definitely not. This is gonna require some engineering and some
I
conditions.
think what we see here is a result of either poor engineering from the planning board's approval of the site plan that didn't get due consideration, or improper carrying out of that plan that was in fact approved. We don't know any of that, it never came to us.
Right.
I think the NOI is necessary,
100% agree.
and it is jurisdictional because of the downstream impact, and I'm hearing the
Okay.
near outlet, 18 inches of sediment. That's a pretty flat, extensive wetland downstream. I
Yeah.
can only imagine how far it goes.
And we can make better decisions if it takes the NOI process. Because
Okay.
just hiring a wetland scientist to come in and analyze the silt is
This is way
Whoa,
over
yeah,
Maureen's,
way
way over
beyond,
Maureen's
way
head.
beyond. This is engineering
This
and
is-
stormwater management 101. I mean, this is way beyond Maureen. No offense to her. This is way
It's
beyond.
not her field.
It's not her field.
And that's all I have to say. I mean, it's about the worst violation I've seen.
Pictures tell 1,000 words.
Yeah, and I don't think,
And I understand the rain's been terrible. I mean,
no, but I mean, I don't think that he went forward planning on having this happen. I think there was no engineering done there because it was declared as not.
I think he's a victim as much as.
Yeah,
as
because,
we are.
you know, everybody was told it's non-jurisdictional, and then all of a
Well,
sudden,
The
It
problem
was.
is that when Mike Howard was the agent,
Yeah.
the same thing happened.
yeah.
At this site?
And, yeah,
So,
so they
Th-
got
then
it
how did
all
it-
buttoned up, and then it grew back. The developer at the time walked away.
so I have to ask the question.
And so
If
when-
this happened once before, and there was a record of it happening once
Right,
before,
so
how
I-
did it get away as being non-jurisdictional?
New owner.
Well, new owner, I informed.
Yeah, but we have records in the town. mean,
I know, and I informed the planning board and the planning director that we had a problem in the 80s, and we need, the planning board needs to provide for robust erosion controls.
Was it the 80s? Was it
At
that
the-
far back?
Well, whenever,
Yeah.
maybe it was 90s, I
90s.
don't know.
It was definitely
I feel like,
90s.
I'm not at all happy with what I just heard
no,
from you.
okay,
Not at you, but just that there was a record.
Yep.
There was a record of deficiency on the
Right.
site, and that at the town level, it was ignored. That is the most unacceptable thing I've heard in a long time.
I mean, it's so much to go on. You don't know where to start. That's why I agree, you should have an NOI with an engineered plan.
we need,
I don't want any stabilization to be delayed by that NOI.
No,
think
I don't either.
I still think they need to be doing something on a regular basis, and I'm sure you
I
want
mean,
it.
that's my concern, is if it pushes out time-wise, I mean, it's just gonna stay like that, really.
We can through the enforcement order, we can allow you to do
I mean, I'm happy to do-
stabilization necessary.
Sure.
But then, what I would be asking for is a notice of intent to design the rest of your project. But an enforcement order to stabilize the site now, to get it ready for the notice of intent.
Just out of
That would be my request, anyway.
Just out of curiosity, where's the building supposed to go where the pond is?
To the left of the excavator up top. In the
Up
picture.
top where the excavator
I
is?
don't know if, can you see?
Take the high ground.
Here?
Yeah, up there, to the left side.
Okay. Well, why was that dug the way it was then? If you're not putting a
Well,
building there?
the basin was
As far as,
Why was that
that-
dug? Was that to hold the water back?
to address
that's where all the
runoff
stormwater on
and-
the site goes to.
Right.
That was an
That's
existing pond,
going
right?
to be
There were
the
a couple
final
small existing ones in the
stormwater.
front, and they enlarged them for the
So
capacity
before
for
that was
100
dug,
year.
that water was running down the street?
No, this
I mean, it was
Said there were
vegetated,
small ones.
Yeah, I should
That's
have
good.
gotten one
I
over.
mean, we did, the pond was the first thing we did to establish that, so.
Okay. I was just curious where, like I said,
Yeah, I mean,
I'd
that's
have to
where.
see the plan myself. Sean?
No questions. I mean, I do think you're right, and an NOI is the way to go, and whatever enforcement order we do today, it's gonna be to file an NOI by such and such a date.
So,
Tony?
I somewhat familiar with the site. It's on the way that I cut through to Stop and Shop, so. It looks like the intent was there to do, I mean, he's got a stormwater basin in the low area. I think that the issue is you just have so much exposed right now. and then 7.5 inches of rain in the first week
That's
of
the thing,
July.
I mean, if you figure an inch
It's
of rain over 3
perfect.
acres, that's like, what,
Perfect
12,000 gallons?
Yeah, it
So
was
you do
kind of the
that.
perfect storm,
I mean,
no pun intended.
I tried, guys, like, I failed, but I tried.
But I think,
I mean, even look at the barriers and the precautions I set up, those aren't on the plan. We tried to be proactive with it.
It's, clearly you did, but that basin.
And we were
was
out there
clearly inadequate.
throughout the storms trying to
No,
just
it's-
do
I
whatever
fully
we could do.
agree.
And communicating with Amy as well, so.
But
most of my time's on the other side of the table. I've had this happen to me, it's not fun.
That's completely inadequate, and
But
it's gotta be engineered.
So
That's gotta be part of the NOI.
I think
obviously.
it would be nice, so we went to planning board, so there are site plans and that's.
Oh, yeah, no, there's
Yeah,
a
I mean,
full-blown
I-
site plan with Meridian,
Sure.
I believe there's
I-
already, because it's over an acre of disturbance, so I just
I
need to
think-
confirm.
Sorry,
before
I
see.
should have got the plans from
Yeah.
Gina.
I think
I apologize.
the enforcement order to let's keep moving and getting the site stable, you have plans, I think, you're right, it is cleaner in the end if we can get them out from the enforcement order with the notice of intent and then some erosion control monitoring that goes on.
Some stormwater engineering.
Yeah, I think a phasing or lack, or a construction
Phasing.
stormwater plan would probably be the most important thing.
I mean, where you're at right now in the process is, we're pretty much into the finishes and grading and, you know, putting the
Yep.
surfaces down. I mean, there's a little bit of drainage left, but the utilities are done.
And
And we
I
were
think,
gonna pave the road going up, so I mean,
yeah, I
it's-
think a lot of what
It's really at the point where we were going into finish and
what you
closing everything
need to
out.
do under the enforcement order is what you need to do to finish the project. They're not mutually exclusive, getting those slopes dressed, graded, stabilized.
Yeah, I mean, that road's gravelled all the way up, we were gonna
Yeah.
bind it.
So, I mean, I think under the enforcement order, a lot of that work is gonna take place anyways. It's just a matter of, it'd be nice to have, and I think even for your own issue, because if there's downstream damage, if you have an engineer submitting those documents and going through, you know, it's not under your own.
Sure, I mean, I'm
issues.
happy to do whatever's
Yeah,
required.
no,
I'm not-
that's,
Hire a good engineer that has stormwater capabilities.
We
The
have
wetland
Meridian-
scientist is a good person to have, but this is beyond wetlands.
Sure, I mean, that was the enforcement, was get a wetland rep, so
I
that's,
get it.
that's the direction I went. I mean,
No, I-
Meridian did the original design and all the stormwater and everything.
By the
for it.
planning board, is that recent history, or is this old?
September 2020.
Too recent.
So
Okay.
recent.
It's not, that, not 1990s.
It's not
vintage.
ancient,
Yeah,
no.
right.
No.
It's recent stuff.
Right.
Okay, so it's still probably valid. And that's your starting point, and, you know, do we know who the engineer was?
Meridian Associates?
See, they don't come to us, we don't know them.
Yeah. I dealt with them in Beverly. They were decent. I mean,
Okay.
I just don't think they,
The guy's name was Capichetti, I don't know if that means it.
my brother works for Meridian, or used to.
Used to, so that Mike's your brother then?
Yes.
Okay.
So what, let's start with the enforcement order, let's start there.
yep.
What do we want to say on the enforcement order right now today to get,
What do you want them to do, frac tank or?
I want them to drain that pond.
okay?
Because, right, frac tanks?
Is that practical with that amount of water?
I mean, I would say even a dirt bag on the top of the hill for the time being, just to, and
Yeah, and not having been on the site and just looking through the pictures real quickly, I mean, you can't expect the very bottom of the project to be the solution
No.
to the runoff.
Right.
You've got to incrementally be controlling it up above. I mean, maybe you've been doing that, but holding as much water up top as you can, and anything that's coming down that roadway, slowing it down incrementally before it gets there is all gonna help. It's a lot of frac tank work. You're putting a heck of a demand on that.
I don't know how,
No, it's a good thought.
yeah, I'm thinking a riprap pad.
I mean, the frac, it
Yeah.
doesn't settle out.
Flock blocks, put
So, I mean,
flocculation
it's
blocks
been
in
that
them.
pond, and
Yes,
that's the way
because
that
especially
pond
this-
looks
this will fuck with
for,
the
since we
wetlands.
built it. So that material never settles.
Yeah, so I've dealt with that type of
So I
soil
mean,
before
something
too.
like- yeah.
And you're right, you're gonna have to get flock blocks out there, because you're
That
not gonna
soil-
get the size.
We
Out
had
there.
rain for rent out with the test.
Is the
and
same
it
soil
didn't settle
type
with the flocks.
from Clay Pit Hill. That's the same exact soil. It won't settle out.
Yeah.
It will never settle out.
It's,
We ran into this at North Andover Estates some 25 years ago. And it took 20 years to get that corrected. It's the same soil type. It's the same exact soil in that region. Clay Pit Hill is called Clay Pit Hill.
Clay Pit Hill.
All right, and this is the same soil, the same thing.
Not to say it's bad soil, it's just when it
No,
gets wet,
it's-
it's bad soil.
When it's wet, it's bad. It's like 28 on the 200.
The only point I'm making
Yeah,
is that
no.
our experience up there was, and we had some of the best people in the business working on it, it never settled out.
That's why I'm saying, and I think Joe's right, the
Flock
flock
blocks.
flock
Flock
blocks,
blocks.
you're gonna have to make like a temporary settling basin. And, you know, a lot of times you can even ring the
So-
bag,
yeah.
kinda elevate it, let it flow down, and put the flock blocks in that, and then you're gonna have to move it. And then once the flocculant, works,
So we had rain for rent out, the flocculant wouldn't take it out. They
Oh,
did
really?
The vial tests, and
So-
it wouldn't take it out. We tried that up like a couple months ago, just to be ahead of things.
that's,
So are you talking about a second settle basement on top?
yeah, I would go to the top because you can control how much water goes to it. At the bottom,
I mean,
Once
everything
it starts
comes
raining,
from the
you're
neighbor
done.
too. Everything's coming from the Watts side, that Watts building on the left, and it just shoots right across everywhere.
He's gotta catch it before it gets to the space. He's gotta construct something to catch it. So
How much
do we-
rain did you guys get? What was the total in this town?
Just last Friday, you mean?
Well, I mean, the last week, I mean, was it?
first week of July was over 7.5 inches.
I thought just last Friday alone was about somewhere between 3 and 4 inches,
Yeah.
just in one day.
I watched the news this morning, we've gotten 8.9 inches of rain
So,
this month.
In July.
July.
but that's,
That's across the Logan too.
yeah, but that's why
Yeah.
that's why we engineer these things, or require them to be engineered, because that can happen.
Right.
That's the idea behind the standard.
Well, we require them to be engineered post-construction. That's,
Yeah.
and Joe brought that up the last time, is it's during construction, that's when the disasters
It
happen.
almost always is your worst condition.
Yeah.
So
From
let's
everything, from
let's get-
structures to.
Let's get back to the enforcement order. What do we
Yeah.
want to, we have to give him
So-
instructions right now today, because he can start the NOI process, but what do we get him to do right now in the next, say, 3 days or 4 days?
Capacity at the pond at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, that's
now.
A number one.
A
'cause if
number
we get
one right
more-
now.
More rain, he's,
I wanted to lay out the expectations, I
It
don't
is-
want to lay out the design, because I
It
think
is
it's
just for the record,
beyond
it's-
Yeah, no,
deletion from
but-
this table. I think what we should be doing is have them engage, competent stormwater management firm, not just an engineer, not just a wetland scientist, but someone who knows, somebody like those folks we used, that we saw up on, Princeton Village, who come in and they looked at the situation as bad as it was, and they knew what to do. What's the guy's name? Up at Princeton? The stormwater guy?
But don't rain in the
What?
barn.
At
Not
1210,
G,
you're talking about the stormwater guy
Yeah.
at 1210. The name of the gentleman who designed the system for 1210 Osgoode.
LRT?
They're capturing the groundwater.
LRT.
LRT.
Lockwood.
Yeah,
Lockwood.
Lockwood.
That's who,
That's the type of firm that this site needs, is someone who can come in and assess the terrain, the construction plans that are approved, and what you have out there now, and they'll say, these are the things you need to do in order to bring this into compliance.
well, let's say he can't get this guy out there for days. He's gotta do something like tomorrow.
I want to drain that basin. That's what I want to do.
Well, the only way to drain is through
Frac tanks.
frac tank, but more than a frac tank, you're gonna need
Well, or-
to
I
then
don't
have the
know.
discharge
Frac tank,
treated.
right, it's still gotta go somewhere.
Take it away. Can't they just fill them up and take them away?
You mean like water trucks? Instead of delivering the water, sucking it
Yeah.
up?
No.
You put that in somebody's pond. pool.
The-
cost of that alone.
Yeah, that's like hazmat. Where do you take that?
You have to test it too, and you're gonna be
Yeah.
pushing everything out.
That's why I'm thinking if you can use your site.
Yeah, pump it elsewhere.
I mean, we can certainly try putting dirt bags up top and pumping it up the hill and lower the pond down, see if it'll recharge in some of the areas
So-
there.
So create a basin up top, right? Is that what you're saying?
And,
Yeah.
yeah, just as, at least build some
They told us to
capacity down
move
the
it.
bottom.
It could be on TV.
I think Joe's right, we should, because if we tell you to do something and it turns into a bigger disaster, we're just as complicit, but.
We shouldn't be designing it, but we should just give him
Yeah,
exactly
so-
the direction.
I mean, if you tell me what you want, I'll make my
And I
best
think if-
efforts.
Yeah, so I think
We should be
if we
giving
get the water out.
emergency direction.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
That's what I'm getting at.
By
And I want him to get the engineers firm to do the rest.
To do it right.
Because we're not gonna engineer anything. And
But if they-
Anthony's right, if we do, then we own it.
But if they notify us, I think Amy should have total discretion that, yeah, if an engineer's saying this is the best option we have and we need to do it now,
Do it.
do it, yeah.
Do it. There you go.
Under the EO,
Yep,
correct? I agree.
no, that's,
That would be one of the lines of the EO, you're gonna have that authority.
And concurrently, you want them to file for an NOI.
We want a filing for an NOI, time is of the essence.
But first thing is what, hire an engineer by when?
Yesterday.
well, stormwater expert.
Stormwater
A
expert?
stormwater, he needs a
Bill, let me ask
stormwater,
you-
in addition to his wetland presence.
All of this effort out there, this is you and your guys doing the best you can, right? Or have you had people helping
By
you
the
out
end of
with
the
this?
week?
No, I mean, this is
Friday?
our employees doing the work here, yes.
Yes.
So what we're saying is not an
It's gonna
insult,
start
because this is
raining.
overwhelming.
Sean, it's gonna
What we're
start
saying is
raining.
that there are firms
It's
in
gonna start raining
this
Friday
line of
night,
work
so.
Sure.
who know how to address
By
this.
Friday.
And that's what we need.
By Friday.
By Friday?
Sean's, we're giving him a timeline,
It's gonna rain all weekend again.
because it's gonna start, look, we got 5 more days of rain coming right up. So this is not gonna get better.
So stormwater expert and wetland expert by Friday.
Yes.
Yep. And then
Not Norse?
Oh, no,
Is Norse okay for the wetlands, or?
North's for the restoration of what the
Yeah,
impact
that's-
is.
Okay,
They're
all right,
fine.
all right.
They're fine for that.
Well, Norse is okay for the wetlands under the direction of our administrator.
And
I want them getting your approval for every step,
Yep.
every step of
I
the
think the
way.
intent is to present a plan to Amy and then.
Yeah, I mean-
Before we do anything, so.
if his regular site engineer or a site engineer writes a letter, someone who's PE, that says, I think between now and Friday, we're expected 3 inches of rain, and this is how we buy 3 inches of storage.
Capacity, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's more than adequate, rather than wait till Friday when it's gonna start raining for the stormwater expert or something to come up with the ideas. So, yeah, I mean, if you have, someone at Meridian that you can talk to and give you just some direction, and
Yeah,
just put a letter together and, say, hey, this is what we think is the best option
emergency.
now.
You need an action plan that starts tomorrow. I'm sorry to say it,
Amy,
but
No, it's-
The weather's gonna be good tomorrow, so.
Move
it's-
move the next slide that shows looking down the street by the Jersey barriers.
Wow.
pick of the week.
Right there, right there.
Probably raining right now.
That wetland is 400 feet down the street.
Yeah.
I mean, is there any benefit to get the town to weigh in and let the contractor put check dams and stone and silt
In the
fence?
gutter, yes.
In the gutter, all the way down before it gets down there. So incrementally, you're stopping it for whatever does overtop the
like
site.
This,
like
this
that,
stuff,
like
it's going
3/4
through
inch
the
stone.
wattles. It's
Hmm?
not
Yeah,
even
Joe.
separating out in the wattles. It goes through the stone, it's going through the silt fence, I mean, it doesn't clear.
Yeah, that type of soil just runs coffee
yeah, yeah.
all the time, as soon as it gets wet. It's-
All we can hope to do is slow it down.
So even putting 10 check dams of stone and silt, terra tubes?
There's
It
6
would be
rows
good.
of, there's 6 rows of silt sock on the other
It'll-
side of that fence.
But it
Went right through it.
it'll still start catching it, because it's gonna slow the velocity down, so
Yeah.
whatever, you're still gonna get coffee water in the wetlands, I think, but you may not get 18 inches of sediment.
So what I'm saying is, I think we got enough distance where you could get
Yeah.
some benefit. Again, it's not his property, it's the town road.
But yeah,
But I think you could use that road to give you some
would think-
help.
I agree, and I would get rid of that damn sock and put some hay bales there.
Yeah,
They're gonna do a lot more to stop the fines.
I was
The hay bales will absolutely stop the fines.
carve it out.
That stuff won't.
Throw some riprap, carve it out, throw some riprap, and then line it with hay bales. up
Real
at the
real
top.
hay bales staked
Yep.
staked in, because they'll stop that, they'll do more to stop the coffee than that sock will.
Yep. And even in the gutter temporarily, even if he's gonna throw the hay bales in the gutter for the time being, because they're temporary enough, and if he gets a call to
If
get
they're
them
up
out,
on their
he
edge
can't
and
get an
staked
answer
in, they'll
the
do a
next-
lot more to act as filters.
So do you guys want to design it for him, or don't you want to design it for him?
I was just gonna say, this
The big thing
is,
for
these
you-
are good, these are good
And when you
suggestions for
do
your
it, do it at an
stormwater
angle,
expert.
because they stay longer.
I think these are emergency stopgaps between the actual design.
This is just trying to
Right.
find a way of
Yeah, no, I get it.
stopping
I get
that.
The next 2 clear days, those are the things that you could just simply do as be in peace.
Yeah.
And then we just gotta put this in a.
Were you with us for North
I
Andover
know.
Estates when we were doing this?
I don't think so.
It was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen on the commission. The young kid, on day one, the young kid on a D9 Caterpillar bulldozer, who shouldn't have been on one, missed the line by 80 feet.
I was gonna say that distance was 80 feet.
He missed it by 80 feet.
He missed-
He cut a swath through a hill that was nothing but Hinckley loamy sand. And then the water started. And Mosquito Brook had 24 inches
God.
of this crap in it, and it took like 20 years. Pat Seekamp, one of the best guys around, took him 20 years to get that brook rehabilitated.
Mosquito Brook flowed coffee 3 miles.
All the way down
Really?
to
3 miles.
past my
Oh,
house.
God, that's awful.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Oh, my God.
And it's the same soil horizon, same stuff.
All right, so, we need a PE on board yesterday
Preferably with stormwater.
with stormwater
Preferably.
expertise.
Got the white.
Provide a letter right away for immediate measures to address the site
Right away.
right away. Okay, that's the first.
And when do we want to see an NOI in front of us? How long, what's a reasonable amount of time to prepare an NOI for this?
But the plans are all done. The plans-
Professional
we're not
guess,
asking to
professional
redesign it, we just,
swag.
6 weeks.
yeah.
I was gonna say, if the plans are done, you could probably fill out the paperwork within the next 2 weeks and get the application in. And then I'd be fine with them submitting kind of the stormwater phasing plan after the fact. But at least now we have the whole site on the record, we can start taking a look at and.
You gotta recognize that you could do it within 2 weeks, but I'm not sure Meridian, not
No,
gonna, nobody's gonna change horses. You're gonna use the same firm, so
Right.
they're not gonna pick this right up and do an NOI. So I think it's reasonable to give them 4 weeks to submit an NOI. 2 meetings.
Have it filed.
Yeah, and I'd be fine with North filling out the paperwork with Meridian's assistant too, so whoever can do it first.
Yeah.
Because what he's looking at is just the Form 8, the Form 3, and then the narrative is
Right.
really.
It's creating the capacity on the site to, that's
That-
the trick.
Right.
That's
Yes.
the trick.
Yeah, that's.
So I guess leaving here, what am I allowed to do? Can I clean up? Can I restore the washouts? Can I lower the pond elevation? Can I reinforce the pond?
I'd say anything on the pavement, like sweeping, all that stuff, by all means. I would like to have someone opine onto where the best place to get the water out of the pond is.
I wonder, probably couldn't put into sewer,
The what?
the sewer. Okay, I mean, with permission. But that's SES, that's, no, okay.
Stormwater belongs to books.
So what, like pumping it back uphill to
One other thing, I want.
somewhere?
I want a monitor on site. I want a monitor on
Well-
site starting.
We have, planning board had a monitor,
Who's the monitor?
Lauren Brown with Cooperstown Environmental.
Don't even know.
And,
I don't even know. I don't know.
and
Where is she at?
how do we like Lauren right now?
Andover? I'm sorry?
I said, how do we like Lauren right now? I mean, come on, don't throw me ground balls like
No,
that.
I know. I'm just telling you who the,
I want a monitor on site. I want a grown-up on site.
okay.
You can give them the list of grown-ups that we use, and they can pick one.
Okay.
Norse has done environmental monitoring for us.
And that's fine, Norse will be fine to act as monitor, or if you want to give the list,
Okay,
give the
I'll
list.
give the list.
And the monitor
I
can be in,
mean,
well,
what if it's someone from Meridian?
no, here's the thing, I think, this is just me, the monitor should have no affiliation with either
Okay.
the engineers or the wetland
right.
firm. There should be
Oh, no.
an independent third-party monitor,
Yep,
who has no allegiance monetarily to the other people.
okay,
Break the money chain.
gotcha. Okay. So basically, it's gonna take the place of Lauren.
That's fine.
I think
Bill, are
we're
you
kind
on
of
site every
firing
day?
Lauren right now.
Bill, are you on site?
I'm kind of on board with that, so that's fine.
Are you on site every day?
No.
If someone from the commission were to visit, who can we check in with? Because I'm going to be available the next couple of days. I can kind of want to run my eyes on this.
We typically run with a super or a foreman on the site, so I mean, if you just
So-
go up, you'll be able
Can
to.
you leave
Boots, hard hat, and.
Yeah, yeah.
and-
Can you leave a
vest.
contact name and number with Amy, so if we want to go
Yeah,
on site?
I mean, just call me, and I can tell
Alright.
you who's
Is
there.
that silt fence trenched in?
Oh,
I know
yeah.
you have it up
Oh,
against
yeah.
the,
That's not silt fence against the barrier, that's 12 feet of Marafi.
oh, it's real.
Then it's laid down. And then there's trap rock, 4-inch trap rock, and some 3/4 stone on top of the flap to hold it. and then the silt fence on the right side is trenched in.
And
And there's wattle in front, there's 6 rows of wattle on the downstream side.
wow.
And like I said, the water at this corner came out of the
It's
pond.
scary.
It's not
Do
for
it
lack
over
of
the-
trying, no, it's.
No, I mean,
That's what's scary, he's doing all the right things.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
that's,
I tried, guys, like, I'm not gonna,
Yeah, no, that's-
you know, I
that's
obviously
really
failed, but I tried.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I did more than anyone's ever done in that corner there, but.
no, that's,
Like, when I tell you the water came out and went over the barrier, it just went over, right over the top of it. And it was like a river,
So-
a waterfall coming off the top of it.
Yeah.
And other
It's right
places-
there right now.
This was
It's
last,
right there right
last
now.
Friday?
Yeah. Well, Thursday,
had it
Friday, yeah.
Thursday.
Oh, you know what?
I mean, it rained like 3 days in a row, and it
The
was
week
a
before,
great
we had
time
a
for
severe
me.
We had-
thunderstorm, but it
yes.
didn't hit this part of town. It was hit
Oh,
more
yeah,
towards
that's right.
Brent.
I mean, the pond wasn't full. I mean, it's been going down, and until we had that rain on, I don't even know what day it was, Wednesday, Thursday.
Friday we had the
And then it
truck.
kind of brought it up a little, and then it just, the next day, it just kept raining and raining, and
When it does have water in there, it's not overtopping, where does it drain out to? Does it just saturate down into the
Yeah.
ground?
yeah. And now that you have all that sediment in there, it's gonna be
It's gonna be worse.
tough to.
Right, 'cause
Sealed
it's
off. It's on a-
sealing
Yeah.
itself
I mean, it's
off.
clay on the bottom, so it's not really going, down, it's going out.
All right.
And they could put fish in it, go fishing.
It's loaded with frogs, which amazes me.
Right, that basin's a little.
Right. Oh, we kinda got it.
All right, so, just to review. All right, so we need a PE on board yesterday, providing a letter with emergency measures to stabilize the site. In the meantime, do whatever anything more you can do. I mean, stone check dams, whatever, I don't know.
Create capacity at the top of the hill.
Create capacity at the top of the hill.
Who would be, John Borghese, if you wanted to put anything in the street? Would that be who we direct them towards?
Or Jim
Yeah.
Stanford. Yep,
Yeah, just,
yep, okay. DPW, check with DPW
Amy,
on
that's
any
gonna-
kind of,
Obviously, that's gonna take some assistance from you. The reality is, their systems are already being impacted by these discharges, so temporarily using the street is only to the town's benefit.
they're aware of it. I've
Yeah.
CC'd them on this, on the enforcement order. So, okay, so Norris is okay for wetland work. We need the firm to have stormwater expertise. We need a new monitor that, from the
On-site.
list, on site.
On-site,
Um,
not phoning it in.
Right. Okay, NOI in 4 weeks. Talk to DPW about BMPs in the roadway.
Do we want a stormwater plan sooner, or just have it be part of the NOI?
No, I think the storm, well, depending on how we say it, the first thing we talked about was the PE, I think is what, it doesn't necessarily need to be the PE. What we want is a firm that to be engaged, who knows how to deal with stormwater,
Okay.
construction, stormwater mitigation. Now, Lockwood, I think he is a PE, but there are people in his firm that aren't.
yeah. Someone can perform a calculation and say, gee, I have 3 acres of open surface at this, I need X amount of storage for this storm. And, you
And
know,
these are the devices I'm proposing that you
Yes.
use to clean this up
Yeah,
and
so,
stand behind it.
yeah.
Yeah.
it's-
That's what we want quick, but that's what results in that stormwater plan. So we want him to be engaged by Friday, hopefully, that's our goal, that's what the order's gonna say.
The same engineers.
As fast as they can put that out.
Participating in the NOI.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking, I just didn't know if that's possible.
Yeah. But if it's a firm like Lockwood, who knows exactly what to do, and he says, I could be there on Monday, I would say Amy has the authority to say, Monday's fine. If Lockwood says, I can't be there for a month, we got another.
We got another
We got a
problem.
problem.
Right.
So, but again, if you're at least trying to engage people and just let us know, and we'll take any professional in the interim.
Sure.
As we keep trying to
We
solve
even
things.
might have their own people. Well, not in their company, but somebody
Mhm.
did their.
Okay.
All right. Well, if you want to review with Amy tomorrow,
All
it
right.
sounds like a lot to do.
So we
I got my list.
So
Yeah.
moved.
Okay.
What are we gonna use for, how long?
Discussion, when do we want them back? 2 weeks?
Well, next meeting, just for an update?
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be nice just for
Update next meeting?
check-in, yeah.
And then the second meeting, hopefully you'll
28th.
have your NOI ready to go? Okay.
So that amendment, so moved.
But we're not
Heard
gonna
a second already.
talk about NOI until,
Nobody wanted more discussion.
the site is stabilized, I'm saying, right?
Well, no, what I was listening to Joe say when we were talking about the NOI, if he engages an engineer now that commences on stabilization, and that engineer is gonna be part of the NOI, that'll be incorporated as part of the work, right?
The stormwater mitigation stuff, it would become part of the NOI. But I don't want to wait till the NOI to get that.
No,
Right,
no,
right,
we want that to start now.
Right.
But we were saying have the NOI by the next, second meeting.
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
So I just have one question. I mean, there's a lot of areas where the runoff has kind of eroded the slopes and things like that. Am I able to go in and kind of patch those back in and
Stabilize.
do some
Yeah,
measures to divert the water and
Yeah.
collect the water and things like that? I just know it's, right now
Yeah.
with the action, it's to stop work. I just want to
No,
make
we
sure.
want you to stabilize the site.
Okay,
Yeah.
We want you to stabilize the site.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
we'll
our
just
area where-
communicate
Just
what's
keep
going
doing
on.
where the
whatever.
gravel is coming down, so that's obviously there's like a funnel.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of there, yeah,
Yep.
get the funnel out, get some stone on the top to kind of push it so it doesn't open up again.
Yeah, cease and desist doesn't mean just to.
Anything
No,
other-
and we haven't. We've been trying to clean up and things like that. I just
Yeah,
want
like
to be
these-
transparent what
like
we're trying to
these
do. If you see machine up there working, like,
along-
that's what we're doing.
Erosion control, that's kind of what we need.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
stabilizing slopes and getting rid of all those rivulets and
Right.
putting,
Yeah, all those,
blankets on those or something
So
like that.
that slope you're looking at right now calls for riprap. Can that be done to kind of
I-
lock everything in?
Riprap is stabilization as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
It's,
I would agree.
yeah.
is
Okay.
it straight riprap, or is there fabric and then riprap, or should that not happen?
I don't
Should
know.
fabric not happen?
I just.
It's detailed. I think it's
Yeah.
fabric with,
I would just,
And I would say whatever holds that slope.
yeah.
Right.
Okay,
That's- Yeah, I mean.
all right.
you can see the.
Yeah,
The
I
goal
mean,
is to
yeah,
hold
I
the
mean-
slope and create
Whatever
some
you
storage
wanna do.
capacity up higher,
Yeah.
whatever it takes to do
Okay.
that. I don't know what.
Like, fingers off the top.
It's, we've been chasing one in Wenham, the same soil. I mean, we've got blankets, we've got loam and seed, and it just keeps, every time it rains, it just slides down.
Like I was saying, North Andover States,
Yeah,
they put that mat, the grass mats, and the whole thing just slid.
Well, that was, eventually they found a system to hold the hill, but it took years. It didn't take days or weeks. It took years to get that hill held. They rebuilt it, but that's because they had a 12-year-old on a D9.
but I think riprap will definitely stabilize.
Okay.
So the left side coming up the drive, kind of before you get, to this picture here, that calls for the mulch netting and the, kind of loom and seed on that. Should I make that riprap as well, or with that held up okay with the storm? I mean,
This is where you gotta talk to your engineer.
well,
This is where
that's
you gotta
how
get
it's
him.
designed. It's designed that way, but I don't know if
You got
that's,
a plan that's approved by the planning board too, so you can't
Right.
differ too much from that.
Well, that's true, I mean,
Yeah, we can't tell you we can't tell you to deviate from the approved plan,
okay.
yet.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, maybe not today.
And that's
Maybe not today.
That's not the riprap that you're using on the slope, right? That's just
No.
trap rock that you're using on site. Because I've seen some people dump that on the slope and call it, oh, yeah, I put riprap down. I'm like, yeah, that's great.
that's not, really,
Yeah, no,
No,
that's,
we'll use something heavier.
yeah, you're gonna need something
12, 24 inch.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's,
Just do it.
No, that, I think, if that was, is that today? The pictures? or-
yes, this morning.
So that is, we're gonna reinforce that corner with the barrier, we're gonna extend the barrier line up a little further and
yeah, no, that's,
put that in to kind of hold the fabric we install again.
no,
Okay.
I don't think it's for lack of trying, like I said, I just think it's, you
I
get bad
appreciate
soil
that. I
and too
don't-
much open. It's, bad luck with weather.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a lot of rain.
This area's the top.
I mean, we went through the wet season, we didn't have any issues, we've had that open since January,
You're right.
and
Yeah, who would've thought
in July is when I have a problem,
I can see April, but not July.
No, like I said, it's been open, we've been working up there since January.
Okay.
See if Amy needs anything else.
Anything else?
Okay, what, yeah,
You good?
I think we got everything.
All right, so we need a motion to continue.
No, yeah, you guys already,
No?
you voted on the EO,
We,
right?
I think we voted on the EO, right?
Well, we didn't, we had a
We
motion
don't-
and a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You
All
didn't
those,
call the roll, okay.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's
Okay.
unanimous.
All right, and then a continuance to the 28th for an update. All right.
Motion to continue to the next meeting. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
All right, so we'll.
Thank you and good luck.
Stay in touch.
Guys, thank you. I hope you guys can wrap up pretty soon, because it's a late night.
It's always our goal, and then something happens.
We're getting there, though, we're close.
Every time they try to get out, they drag us back in.
Yes, absolutely, yep.
All right, next one is, Joe, 242-1737, request for the extension for the annual road maintenance.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is, we can do them both the same, because they're both the same site. 242-1707 and 242-1708.
So I do have
Both
just
same.
a report of, I mean,
Just record the
if you want to
extension.
hear.
They're two houses side by side, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, and then he wants an extension, right?
He wants extension
Yeah.
on both.
Okay.
Do you need discussion? or can
well,
we
I just,
extend it?
Want to do
Oh,
it separately?
I'm sorry, we have
we
Mr.
have
Moran.
Mr. Moran here, but
You wanna do
anyway.
it separately?
The commission
No,
recognizes
together,
Mr. Moran.
together, but I just want to let you know what I was on site today.
All right. Well, do
So
one and then
the
do other.
commission,
We should let him.
I don't think so.
can I talk?
Let Amy talk first.
Okay.
No, I just want to remind you, you remember the project, it's a two-lot subdivision.
Yes,
on
we
Sil-
re-
Okay.
we remember this project.
So,
We remember this project.
So there was a buffer zone planting plan and invasive species management program that was proposed and approved. Okay, so, the houses are in, they're lived in, you've got this field stone wall at the 25, site's stable. Plantings were done in spring of 2019. They're not doing so great. And the whole 25 is completely overgrown with a mixture of herbaceous, which is, some natives and a whole bunch of invasives. The order didn't call for reporting, but the program, the written program said, yeah, we'll, 2 years after planting, we'll monitor each year, report,
So by citation.
manage invasive species, which.
By citation, the NOI and all the documents coming into the NOI become binding.
Yes,
So
even though
it's not
there wasn't a
specifically
specific
conditioned, you still have to
condition,
do it.
But if you reference a plan that says, yeah, we're gonna provide you with reports, we don't have any reports. We have all the monitoring, the erosion control monitoring, and I scoured that file, but we really don't have a formal, planting plan monitoring report or invasive species monitoring, which honestly,
That was
good
discussed.
luck to you.
There was some quid
Good luck to you
pro quo
with
out
the
there.
There was
invasives out there.
discussion on invasive species
not-
during the hearing.
It was an important part of the.
Yes,
of the-
but-
of the-
There was-
We did site walks and everything out
Yeah.
there, and
Yeah.
walked the hillside and walked the gullies where
Yep.
all the knotweed was, and,
Yep.
all of that stuff had to happen in order for us to give up some of the things we gave up in exchange.
Well, I'm not sure what you gave up because, the houses are out of the 50. The 25 is,
Demarcated by a
demarcated
wall.
with the wall. I think it was historic use of the property where it was dumped. There's a contractor that lived there
That's
and
what
just
it was.
used it as his dumping ground. So it really was. It was like, get the stuff out of there.
Yeah, but it was cleaned up, right?
It was,
Yeah.
it was.
So-
And, plantings were done.
Yeah.
But
And
honestly.
the invasives are back.
The invasives are back.
So I guess we just have to go with what was written. There was a plan for invasives
Yeah.
during the hearings. I just
Yeah.
don't remember if it was part of the conditions or if it was
It was referenced as an approved document.
on the record drawing.
Yeah,
So, as Joe says, it's fair play, it's in game,
yeah.
it's in play.
Good luck out there.
Oh, knotweed.
It's mugwort. What else did we say? Oh, some dock, it's taller than me. It's, I don't know, whatever, that's just my personal opinion,
Well, maybe Mr.
whatever.
Moran has a proposal.
So whatever, you can take it now.
For the record, John Moran from the Moran Cameron Group. We're here tonight representing Gerald Brecker for a request for an extension for the order of conditions for lots 1 and 2 over on Stevens Street. The lot owners did hire LEC. LEC Environmental did do the planting plan for the mitigation area. They did do the invasive management. out on that site. I believe LEC actually went out last fall to do an inspection. They'll be going out again this fall. I believe they went out this spring, but we're not involved in that section, but I can absolutely look into that. And I can ask them to contact the Conservation Office and give them an update. Again, as you're aware, as Amy pointed out, we do have that 2-year growing season, and that should be up this fall. That's kind of one of the main reasons for the extension request is we just don't, the order's going to expire before we get through that. And the client hasn't had us move forward with all the COC requirements to this point. So we couldn't even if we got everything done this summer, we couldn't submit because we wouldn't meet the 2-year until the fall. So what I can do is I can reach out to LEC, find out where they're at for their next monitoring, and have them give Amy a update of where they are at. Again, I do know that they were out there last fall. I do know that they were the ones who planted it, and they are monitoring it, and they're supposed to be going back out again this fall to do an inspection. But I'd be more than happy to relay the message and have them get in touch with the Conservation Office. But again, the reason for the extension, as Amy had pointed out, and as you can see by the photos, everything's pretty much done with the exception of we haven't done the COC as-built yet. We haven't really evaluated the certifications, but visually, everything looks like it's per the plan. But we'll verify that with the as-built. But again, the orders technically expired last August. However, because of the state of emergency, it was still in effect. Now that the state of emergency has been lifted, as you know, we have to request that extension with so many days of the state of emergency being lifted. So that's kind of why we're here tonight for that.
Okay. So I'm looking for a motion.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
That's for both parcels.
1 year for each?
So,
Yep.
for both.
I think that's all we can do.
I think so too.
Thank you, John.
Thank you,
Perfect.
John. Thank
Thank
you.
you, John.
Keep
I'll
up the
talk
good
to
work.
Whatever
Ann and-
LEC has, send it to me, because I got nothing.
Got it.
Okay.
I guess so. Next one is election of Conservation Commission offices.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I nominate you for another term as chairman.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Voted sorry.
Thank you for my dead.
Welcome back.
Dead sentence.
Welcome back.
And I would like to nominate
Thanks.
Al as the assistant chairman.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, everybody.
All right, next one is MACC annual dues.
Alrighty, so annual dues, we've got a baseline of $770, additional $60 each for Taylor and I, which is $120, and then subscription to our e-handbook for the office at $15, so that's a grand total of $912.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that's unanimous. You guys make big bucks. Why aren't you paying your own dues?
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
Big bucks.
I was gonna make another second ebook for her,
Right. Right. Right-o.
in lieu of pay.
Okay, so I got,
Kids, in lieu of pay.
I got
We got one
217 Gray
decision.
Street for you guys.
We have one decision?
Huh?
Great.
12.5-foot decision,
12 and a half.
12 and a half.
12 and a hay.
whatever it takes.
All right, so, I will revise the,
What do you think the chances of that are?
Probably not good, huh?
I know it would be good here.
Amy, are there any waivers requested this decision?
no.
Okay.
Well, yeah, 12
Yeah, 12.5-foot.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
that's
Yeah.
Which we granted.
that's right, I'm sorry.
Oh, this is that.
The guy we just,
You're right.
I'm with you now.
That-
I drifted off for a minute. Sorry. Won't let it happen again.
You're right, okay.
So that goes to
So go right to that, condition 48, to do we want the markers at the 25, or do we want the markers
No.
at the 12 and a half?
12 and a half.
12 and a half, yeah.
I think we have 12 and a half.
12 and a half.
Per the
percent.
plan, per the plan
Half
that
a
we
12 and a half, 12 and a
received.
half, 12 and a half. Like a
Split the
13.
difference, half a 12
Like
and a
a
half.
13.
I would have pushed my luck, that's why I'm not a good engineer, I would have been 12.
Is that something you guys want to vote on, or is it okay to,
No, you amend,
You amend, yeah.
and we vote as amended.
okay, got it. Yep, 12 and a half feet from,
Well, they did draw something on.
They gave you.
I got it.
They gave you a drawing to be referenced,
yep,
incorporated by reference and attached here
I
too.
just want that condition to be consistent with that little
yes,
sketch.
yep.
That should be the exhibit,
Approximated.
record drawing exhibit.
Approximated on the record drawing, which is 12 and a half feet.
And on 56, we gotta take it right out. Insulation foundation for the garage.
Okay, so,
There's no garage.
you're right, that's been yanked.
Oh, where?
Number 56.
Condition 56,
You marked it important.
but it's been withdrawn.
It's important that you take it out.
Oh, yeah. So there's an addition at the rear of the house. Do you want an
that's
as-built
true.
foundation for that?
How about we change it to installation of any foundation?
All
And
right,
then,
Yes.
that way, when he comes back for the modification, if he gets ZBA approval, we're not stuck without a condition that he
Okay.
says.
So strike the word garage and put any.
any,
Yep.
okay.
Any other questions?
So I think I'll add language in 48 about mowing shall cease between the markers and the wetland.
No, I think I'd expand upon 49. The markers stand on their own, that's accurate on
Okay,
the 48.
alright.
49, mowing of the wetland shall cease immediately, that's the wetland itself.
Yep.
Another sentence that simply says, and upon completion of the project, mowing within the 12 and a half no disturb zone,
Yeah.
as delineated shall
12 and
cease.
a half, 12 and a half.
Yep, gotcha.
It's just the second sentence, 49.
150 inches.
I think
I
we
should have pushed for 13, you're right, a little bit easier.
I mean, I think we should be clear that this only applies to mowing, that if they ever came back with any other proposal, it doesn't mean that they're gonna get something in the 25 just because we are reducing.
So add that
it's-
language
It's
somewhere
really
on the-
mowing,
So
right? So if they came back and said, well, I wanna put this in the 25, you know,
Right,
it doesn't mean you're gonna
A
get
shed.
a shed, or you're not
Okay,
gonna
so-
get,
yeah, but that'd be a separate,
Separate activity,
Right.
separate plan.
but I think
would be a
it needs
separate
to be clear that
in the order.
the 25 is still the 25, it's just that it's specific to mowing.
25 will remain a non-disturbed zone.
Yes.
Except for mowing up until the
All right.
12,
there you go.
with good old 12.5.
All right.
Excellent legalese.
Emil, I'm thinking of, was that application you showed me today with the shed that we said no way? Was that tonight?
Yeah,
Or
but they
continued?
continued,
Okay.
and the pool, too, so,
Yeah, the pool.
no, Greg couldn't be here tonight.
Move that we adopt as amended.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous. Do you have anything else?
Who seconded that one?
Sean.
Okay.
Might have been Sean.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
No move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's unanimous.